of the largest Jewish community in Latin America, Argentina took the whole week to celebrate the 69th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz, best known as International Holocaust Day. Auschwitz, Nazi Germany's infamous concentration camp, was liberated on January 27, 1945. But in Argentina, Holocaust survivors gathered time and time again to light the 6 candles, one for every 1,000,000 Jews killed in World War II. Some can barely walk, yet they still want to make their voice heard, like Leah Zayak, whose ordeal continued after the Russians liberated Auschwitz. She was among the prisoners taken by the Germans on the death march as they escaped Allied forces.
Here I address the younger generations, and I think I have sufficient moral authority to do so. I ask them and demand that they continue telling the story of the most horrendous crime against humanity, and that they never forget, because the people who have no memory have no future.
Leah spoke at a ceremony at the Holocaust Museum in Buenos Aires, the second in the week, a week the United Nations chose to remember victims of this and other genocides which still haunt our present.
We will be teaching them about the genocide of the Jews in the last century. We will be teaching them about the genocide of the Armenians, and we will be reminding them and urging them to remember that in our period of history we've had similar. Cambodia, Rwanda, the Balkans in the 1990s. So therefore it's a message about the past, yes, it's the memory.
Nobody better than Sarah Russ to remind Argentines that mass killings aren't black and white pictures of the past. A Holocaust survivor, she made it to Argentina, where she married and had 2 children. In 1977, 1 year after the military coup, her son Daniel and 17 other nuclear scientists were dragged from work by the armed forces. They're among the 30,000 Argentines that disappeared during the country's bloody dictatorship.
I continue to fight for memory and justice. What I most like is to talk to the young, who pay attention to what I say, some of them with tears in their eyes. They promise to follow my teachings, a lesson of life and memory. After going through a war and losing a son, I continue to fight because I love life.
In one ceremony, a choir sang. In the other, Holocaust survivors repeated the Yiddish words of the same partisans' hymn, which ends with a cry of victory. No matter what happened, here we stand. Argentina's Holocaust survivors promised to return next year to repeat their stories. They want to show future generations that it's possible to overcome the horrors of the past. But they also want to remind them that it's their duty to avoid such atrocities from happening again. This is Monica Yanakiev for JN1 in Buenos Aires.